React components are normal JavaScript functions that return JSX code. But what is JSX? And why does it look so similar to HTML? JSX is a syntax extension for JavaScript. Yes, you heard it right. It's an extension for JavaScript, not HTML, despite what many people think. This means that JSX is eventually converted into valid JavaScript code under the hood. The conversion is handled by compilers like Babel or SWC. Consequently, the entire component tree representing our app is transformed into JavaScript. These objects are understood by the browser and used by the React runtime to render the final HTML code. For example, this code will be converted by Babel or SWC into this. Note that the JSX is imported from the React JSX runtime package. It's used to build and return the object representing the JSX node. We use JSX for its conciseness. It's easier to read and write because it closely resembles the final HTML that will be shipped to the user's browser. In this video, we will walk through everything you need to know about JSX, including the specific syntax rules that distinguish it from HTML, and how to embed JavaScript using the curly brace syntax. At first glance, JSX looks like HTML. In reality, its strictness may easily break your code if you are not careful. So the first rule is simple. Just be strict with your tags and you will be fine. The rule consists of always closing tags, including self-closing ones like image, or wrapping tags like divs. In addition to being strict with the tags themselves, JSX also has some special rules regarding their attributes. Instead of CamelCase in HTML, you must use CamelCase when defining attributes. Note that JavaScript's reserved keywords are not allowed as attribute names. As an example of that, the class keyword that is used to define classes is not allowed. That's why you need to use className instead. As bonus information, there is one exception to the previously discussed rule, which is attributes that start with either data or area. Moreover, when declaring a component, we also must do it in CamelCase, while making sure that the first character is in uppercase. Now, let me ask you a question. Can a JavaScript function return multiple objects without wrapping them in an array or a parent object? No, that's a syntax error, right? Using a div as a wrapper can be annoying sometimes, especially when styling elements. Instead, there is a built-in React component that literally does nothing but virtually wrapping its children without even showing in the browser DOM. You can use it this way, or more concisely using empty tags. Sure, we can perform any kind of JavaScript logic in the function's body before returning the JSX, including if statements, for loops, and so on. But is there a built-in way to use JavaScript or reference a JavaScript value or object from within the JSX code itself? Yes, and it's pretty simple. Just use the curly braces syntax and then reference any variable, value, function call, or any expression from the JavaScript world. Rather than hard-coding the title value in the markup here, we can store the h1 tag's inner content in a JavaScript variable as a string, and then reference it in the markup using the curly braces syntax like this. Think of the curly braces as a return statement. Anything that returns a string or JSX code can be used inside of them, including functions and variables. Be aware of using if statements or loops inside the JSX. Only values, variables, and expressions are allowed. All attributes except style can be set to strings using the curly braces syntax. In standard HTML, we set the style attribute as a string that looks like this. But things are a bit different in the JSX realm. We need to pass an object that includes your CSS properties and values as key value pairs. The object's keys should be in CamelCase instead of CamelCase. Often people get tripped up by these double curly braces. They think that it's a special JSX syntax, but it's actually just a regular JavaScript object being passed inside the curly braces. Congratulations, you've just earned a new badge, JSX Syntax Wizard. Now that you learned how the JSX magic works under the hood and gone through its spellbook, you are officially ready to write clean, error-free React components. But here is the catch. A button component is practically useless if you can't reuse it with different titles, right? We need some sort of mechanism that allows us to pass data to a React component in order to make it generic and reusable. In other words, we need to be able to pass a title argument to the button component. That's exactly what we are going to explore in the next video. We will learn about component arguments, also known as props. Until then, happy coding!